medium enterprises. So to you, what kind of enterprise would you call a micro, small, and medium enterprise? What are their characteristics? What are the things that you can see for you to classify an enterprise as a micro, small, or medium? So let's talk. Who's going first? So if you want to speak, you can raise your hand. And if you don't speak, I would call names randomly. I like the fact that I have such power, right? So who's going to go first? Rihanna, you guys should not fall my hands. What's an MSME? Okay, great. So let me do this in alphabetical order. So I have Adirunke Adeyinka. Adirunke Adeyinka. Yes, so that's the punishment for your name being starting with A. That's your
Although
punishment.
I already dropped my response on chat. I think they have
Yes.
less than 10 employees, and I also think their earnings as well makes them a small or micro enterprise. So they have less than 10 employees, and then the earnings. I'm not so sure about the amounts, but I know their earnings are less than what bigger companies have. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for coming through. I need one more person. So who is going to volunteer to speak about what they know about MSMs? Now, who is going next?
I can try.
Yeah,
I'm
please
not
go ahead.
I'm not an expert, so but my impression of an MSME is potentially somebody, or I'll go with from the angle of the owner of the business who does majority of everything. So whether or not it's the sales, the marketing, the customer satisfaction, the owner of the business does majority of it, perhaps outsourcing a number of the activities without actually having any employee or having a small number of employees, including kind of creatively, the insights and even the business itself, actually carrying the creative side of the business in terms of the content of the business itself, as well as the workings of the business. So that's my impression. But I don't think it's about the earnings, because you can have a micro, very small enterprise who still makes a lot of money. I don't know. I may be wrong regarding that, but it would be good to hear your views, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you so very much, Jai. And this is a very brilliant class, right? So talking about parameters now, it cuts across. So let me just dive into my slide to give you the definition, right? MSMEs are micro, small, and medium enterprises. A very large percentage of entrepreneurs in Nigeria fall within the MSME bracket, even though people would argue. And so this is the definition. If you are still doing less than 1 billion naira in revenue, according to Sweden and National Bureau of Statistics as of today, you are still an MSME, right? If you're doing less than 1 billion naira in revenue. So the question is, how many businesses are doing more than 1 billion naira? So a large percentage of businesses who think it's derogatory to call them MSMEs actually fall within the MSME bracket. And so there are parameters for defining them. You could look at the staff count, and that's what Adoronke was trying to talk about. So if you still employ between 1 to 199, but then I'm saying that with a lot of caution, because if you don't meet up in terms of staff count, if you're meeting up in terms of revenue, you would, for instance, if you're employing just 10 people and your revenue is over 1 billion, you're not an MSN, right? So if you employ between 1 and 2, you are a micro enterprise, which is also called nano. And if you are employing between 3 to 9, you are a micro enterprise, 10 to 49 small enterprise, and then 50 to 199 medium enterprise, right? But then there is also the turnover part side of things. The micro guy does less than 25 million. The small enterprise does less than 100 million. And the medium guy does less than 1 billion. Admin is raising her. Admin, please go ahead. Can you go ahead? I saw your hand is raised. Can I go ahead, please?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Chat box. I thought I saw a hand raised. So, but then let me go ahead. So the major essence of this class is not just for us to know about how businesses run or what an MSME is. It's about launching an MSME business, right? I found that a lot of time the problem is not the idea, the problem is executing and launching. And whether you are running a business already, or you are thinking of running a business either as a side gig or full-time employment, or you even have a business, but you are still tinkling with some other business ideas or even an idea within the business, this class is suitable for you. And the major takeaway will just be how we can ensure that the ideas we have in our heads don't stay in our heads or in our notebooks, but we're able to execute them and we're able to get results from them. And I understand that is the essence of this whole program. The 90-day program is just for us to become people that execute rather than people that procrastinate and keep thinking and analyzing over ideas that we have, right? So let's go on. Let's talk about what it means to start and launch a business. It is a lot of experience, right? I started, I think my first idea of running a business or going into a business was in, when was this? 1995. Yeah, 1995. That's some 30 years. So, and before anybody start thinking I'm an ancestor, I'm not an ancestor, right? That was when I think I finished secondary school. I was waiting for jam and other things. So I got a job in a poultry. And because of that idea that I got from the job, I decided to also start a mini poultry in my parents' house, right? No, I'm not an ancestor, I'm not. All right, so I decided to start a mini poultry in my parents' house. So I was working in this poultry. I would come home every weekend. So I also bought birds. I think I bought like 14. And so I was rearing them. I bought the feed, the everything, and I left them with my mom and my siblings. And I would come home every weekend and the birds were doing well. But the sad thing is that I think after how many weeks, I can't remember. The bad news is that I lost all the birds. They all died. All of them died successfully. And when I remember that experience now, I just tell myself, hey, we're very foolish, sincerely. Because I just knew that I was working in a poultry. The owner of the poultry was making money, and I also jumped into running a poultry. I never cared about vaccination. I never cared about so many things. And I lost all the 14 birds. My very first experience in running a business. I felt terrible. I felt really, really terrible. But then life goes on. But one thing that I learned is that when it comes to running a business, nobody assures that everything will go on well, especially if you have not put some things into consideration. So that lesson I learned 30 years ago still stays with me. And that's why if I want to do anything, I want to ask myself a lot of questions, almost to the point of analysis paralysis. And that's one thing I also had to catch myself from, right? So that I don't overanalyze because of a mistake I had made in the past. Starting a business is like planting a tree. First, you have to invest your time and your money, and you must take care of the tree while not necessarily expecting a return like immediately. Some trees will take years for them to become something of value to you. But you are watering it, you are investing your time, you are investing your energy, you are investing your money. But when the tree blossoms like this, everybody wants to come and say, wow, this is great, this is amazing, this is big. But a lot of effort have gone into that thing, right? And just imagine that when the idea came for you to plant the tree, you never planted it. It means that the tree will just stay as an idea inside your mind and you will not be benefiting from it today, right? So that's what it is when it comes to running a business. Why do people run businesses? Let's ask, let's go into this. Why do people start businesses? A lot of reasons here and there. For some people, their creativity doesn't fit to the corporate environment. For some people, their personality is just not a 9 to 5 personality. Some people, they lost their job. So I started running a business, let me say professionally now in 2011. And that was because I lost my job. I lost my job. I could remember a very terrible experience. I was working on the island before. And so I was going to get married in 2010. And I was living in Egbeda in Lagos, was working in VI with an insurance company as the head of media unit, right? So I was in corporate communications, I was head of media, and I told myself, God, I'm suffering because I will have to wake up before 5 every morning to go and join the staff bus. I will join the staff bus to VI, and when I'm coming back in the evening, I would get home like 9:30, 10. I was perpetually running temperature, I could remember. And so I said, God, I don't want this kind of thing again. And I was going to get married in 2010. So I just said, God, I wanted a job. And so I got another job, not knowing that that job was going to be a very funny one. But the long and short of it is that I started that job in January, and by August of the following year, we were asked to leave because the company was not doing well, and some of us who were occupying some positions had to leave because they felt like we were the ones earning the most. So I lost my job. That's the long and short of it in 2011, August. And that's why I started running a business, right? So some people would start a business because they lost their job. Some they just want to change the world. There's something they want to see in the world, and so because of that, they launch a business. Some just love to take risk. They love risk. They just love it pumps their adrenaline when they are starting something new, right? Some people don't mind gathering all the money they've made and they just pump it into a particular venture. I've seen people do it. I have some friends in real estate. They make money from a particular venture and they say, I'm doing another deal with another person, and they are putting almost all their life investment. I'm like, why are you like this? They probably just love that risk that comes with it, right? Some people have unconventional ideas that cannot be contained in the 9 to 5 context. Some people, because of income, security, and financial success. And that's why some people have a 9 to 5 and they are still running a business. They just want money from different sources, which is fine. For some people, it's recognition and status. The fact that people will say this guy is now a CEO, it gives some people the kick, right? And that's why you have those CEOs in quote now. They are the Lord and Savior of their company. They are the head of HR, the head of admin, they are the errand boy and everything in between. And that's why when they are celebrating their birthday, they go on Instagram and say, happy birthday to our CEO. And the CEO is the one saying happy birthday to our CEO. And they would like the comment. They will also comment under the comment because they just want that CEO lifestyle. You get? So, but I'm sure you know I'm just joking. But the gist is some people go into entrepreneurship because of that status. They just want to be addressed as CEO and MD. Sounds really good, right? Jai, why are you laughing? Well, it is what it is, right? Some of us have been there. So for some people, it's societal pressure. People are telling them, look at you, all your mates, even people that are not as old as you, they have started their own business. You are still doing yes, sir, for someone. So they go and start a business without thinking about it. Some people, they are not happy with their current work arrangement. They are tired. Some people, it's because of retirement. They are now 60 years and the employment terms in their company says after 60, you cannot work there. So they jump into entrepreneurship. For some people, community and social motivation. Some people desire to have more control over their time and what have you. Some people are pushed into entrepreneurship because of success stories of other entrepreneurs. People have told them how they are making money. They have come to give testimony in church about how they made $300 million from one single deal. And you are saying, the God of brother, so. Be my God too. I also want to start my own business today. And so we jump into it. For some people, it's education or qualification barriers because they have limits when it comes to education. I mean, I remember I had a friend then who actually really struggled with education when we were in school. And the guy already knew that he was just going to go and start his own business because he felt like nobody was going to employ me. I don't even have the academic qualification. So these are many reasons why people start businesses. So I want to ask a question. If you're on this call, you're running a business, copy and paste prayer, all right? If you're running a business, which of these reasons made you to start running your business? Any entrepreneur in the room, which of these reasons is the reason why you're running your own business? So who wants to answer that question? Why are you running a business? If you are running one at the moment, whether as a side gig or full time, why are you running? I was almost saying, why are you running? But the question is, why are you running your business? And nobody should go quiet on me, please. I want us to speak. and I know people that are already running business that they are not speaking of. I will call them ESA's desire to change the world and financial success, right? Okay, so I'll call to Olurotimi Elicious. At least I know you run a business. So why are you running a business?
Good evening. I was even about typing when you called. My my reasons for I can give more than one options, yeah?
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. Desire to change the world, love for risk, income security, financial success, and desire to have more control.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Good. Thank you. I don't know, guys. It's desire to possibly impact lives, not the world. You don't want to impact the world. Why are you limiting yourself? You can impact the whole world, right?
The world is big, oh, it's just my space. So.
Okay. I've heard you. So you start from your space and you find out that it's actually bigger than what you think. And it keeps expanding and expanding. I will tell you the story of MSME Africa as we go along on this call. A lot of reasons. Let me give us some stats about ideas and innovations and why we should quickly act on our ideas. It is very important. Jai said, desire to have more control, opportunity to use my skill, but not getting the chance to formal office setting. Desire for income and desire to help others. That's brilliant. So the average person has about between 6,000 and 6,200 thoughts per day, many of which are ideas or problem-solving thoughts. But of course, some of those thoughts are very bad thoughts, terrible thoughts, right? That we won't dare say. But what I'm saying is that we have a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts go through our mind on a day-to-day basis. But only 2% of people take deliberate action on a creative idea they have. Only 2%. Right? You see how this thing is now thinning down. Now. Everybody has ideas, they're excited, but only 2% take deliberate action. And you know that the reason why you are in this program is that it can be that part of those 2% who are consistently taking actions and executing their ideas. And I know if you are not doing that, something will not leave you, right? So the idea is that you are part of the 2% taking deliberate action, whether in business, whether in your career, and every sphere of life. 90% of ideas never go beyond the thinking about this stage. They die in notebooks, conversation, or daydreams. And a lot of us are guilty of that, including myself. The ideas die in notebooks, conversation, or in our daydreams. Why do you think people don't act on their business ideas or they don't launch them? What are the reasons why you think people don't act on ideas? Let's quickly discuss that. Why don't people act on their ideas? So let's talk. Why don't people act on their ideas? Only 2% of the people would act on them. So why do you think people don't act on ideas? Let's type in the chat box, or if you want to speak, please go ahead and speak. Why don't people act on their ideas? And nobody should mention village people. So they are scared it will not work, right? Mindset barriers, money, procrastination. Good. Let's keep it coming. Procrastination, mindset, barriers, waiting for a perfect time. Okay, so and that's it. Procrastination is a major thing. Imposter syndrome, fear of failure, lack of capacity, resources, fear of the unknown. They are waiting for perfection, and that's it. A lot of people want the perfect moment to do that perfect thing. Self-sabotage. This is a lot. You guys are brilliant. I need to bring out my notebook and start writing too now. Okay. So you've mentioned it all. So there are a lot of reasons why we are not starting the ideas that we are that we have in our head. And for somebody like me, I'm a sandflake, right? I'm a sanguine phlegmatic. Even though a lot of people say, are you really sure you have a sand somewhere? I'm actually a sanguine phlegmatic. And we all know that each personality type have their own peculiarities. When it comes to sanguines, sanguines love to talk, they love to relate with people, they value relationship, but they might not be very big on action, unlike choleric, right? And then the phlegmatic part means that if I am not giving that push, I might just sit down somewhere just be wishing and thinking, and I would want to stay at the background, right? And so because I knew that, I have learned to be very hard on myself sometimes I just jump into some things and I'm asking myself, but because I've made that jump, it helps me to be able to say, okay, after all, I've done it. And let me talk about something I did recently. I started a PhD program. And this is something I'd always wanted to do. And sometimes I go for sessions or I'm fascinated. People are saying Dr. Olurotimi. I say, I'm not doctor. Please don't give me what I. But I knew that I wanted it. And I saw something with a school abroad, or it's going to be online. And I wanted to do it. And I kept postponing and procrastinating. And then somebody just mentioned it to me again, sometimes some months ago. And I just said, I'm going to do it. And the first thing I did was to make a part payment in 7 figures. And when I made that payment, I just did like this, like, hey, are you really serious? And when I told my husband, like, when did you start thinking? I said, I've been thinking about it before, but I didn't want. But I plunged into it because I knew if I didn't make that commitment, that would just be the end of that. I mean, I've been having the dream. So when I made the commitment, I paid money. That was a motivation for me to say, guy, I need to do this thing. Even though I'm still battling with a lot of things around the program, but I know I would finish it because I've committed something to it, right? A lot of reasons: procrastination, fear of the unknown, and for some people they just love to tread a path of least resistance. I have a job that is paying well. Why do I want to bother myself with starting that business? Nobody says leave the job. You can actually start as a side gig, right? And you never can tell what will come out of it. You just never can tell what will come out of it. Now let's look into more stats, right? Over 100 million startups are launched globally each year. That's about 3 new businesses every second. Can you imagine it? Every second you have 3 new businesses launching. So we've started this meeting since 5 o'clock. This is 5:38. So imagine the number of businesses that have been launched in 38 minutes, because that's 38 times 60 times 3. Businesses are being launched like per second globally. But around 70-80% of the startups fail within the first 3 years. They fail within the first 3 years, right? And what are the top reasons? No market need. They ran out of cash. They have problem with their team or poor marketing. We'll delve into some of these things very soon. What's the good news that we have, right? Businesses that validate their ideas early have a 30% higher success rate. Starting small and testing fast increases your sustainability. Start small and test it fast. And then MSMEs that focus on solving a specific local problem, they tend to survive longer and grow faster. So we're in the age of startups now. Everybody is saying, I'm launching. I mean, I coach some startup and I'm asking myself, is this idea really making sense? So I'm launching this one. Everybody wants to do fintech now, and they are just doing a replica of what Paystack and Flutterwave and every other guy has done. And you cannot beat those guys because they have actually they've left the level of startup. They are now scale-ups. And everybody wants to run with the same idea without testing the market. And it's funny to me. So the gist is this. It's not just about starting the business, it's about making it a sustainable business. That's what we're talking about. It has to be sustainable. It has to last long. It has to outlive you if possible. So let's talk. What business ideas have you had before that you did not launch? Anybody, it's time for confession. Have you had a business idea before that you did not launch? Anyone? It is time to confess. Have you ever had an idea that you never launched? Me, I've had thousands, if I could say. Anybody, you've had an idea you never launched, you want to talk about it? Tell us what the idea is and why you never launched it. Oh yeah, now let's talk. I want to hear the voice now. Who's going? Share with us that idea that you had but you never launched and why. Who is Tolulope says a lot. Olaide says yes. So Olaide, let's have Olaide. What's the idea? Why didn't you launch it? In 35 seconds, now your time starts now. Please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to see how to frame it, because you're saying an idea that you didn't launch, because it's not like we didn't launch, but it was part of an idea, part of a business that we didn't launch, because we started a African Caribbean grocery store here in Houston, Texas. And at that point in time, the idea we had was because people were having bad experiences with African stores. So we wanted to set ourselves apart in terms of customer service. And then we initially had an idea of online delivery. So, but we started the brick and mortar. And when we did the brick and mortar, we got too busy managing the brick and mortar that we didn't build out the online. And looking back now, I would have preferred that we had spent more time to actually build out the online, because that is actually what was kind of where the future of stores were going. So that's
Okay. Are you still going to launch it?
no. I've moved. No. No, because running the brick and mortar, you know what, it really, really took a lot out of us. And I just feel that we're in a different space now. You know, it was a good learning experience. We learned a lot from that in terms of business, because we came from we had just came from corporate and then launched into that. So for me, it was a learning experience because it put us into an entrepreneurial mindset, you know, getting away from the 9 to 5. So I think those were the values and those were the lessons we learned from that. So instead, we're pivoting into different model of business, you know, something different, but still more preferably online, you know, something that is,
Okay.
I don't want to say less hands-on, but, you know, not that would require us being there like 24/7. It didn't suit our personality. It didn't suit our stage and our season of life.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Olaide. Thank you for sharing that. So, sometimes we just don't launch because we're thinking, how will I start? And that happens to the best of us. I remember starting MSME Africa during COVID. And I'm one of those persons who can say, thank God for COVID. But I'm careful how to say, because some people lost relatives and they made a lot of losses during COVID. So COVID, that was in 2020. I launched MSM Africa in May 2020, right? February, I had some businesses. I mean, apart from what I do with MSM Africa, I also run a training and consulting business. And so I had some businesses. I had some businesses that were signed off already for me to execute with a financial institution, some training that we're meant to do for them. And that was going to be some good money for us. And then we're meant to execute in March. And then February, I think February 27th or whatever, that was when the first COVID case was reported in Nigeria. I don't know what that guy came to do in Nigeria. And so COVID came, March, there was lockdown, which meant that I wasn't going to do those businesses again. And I was bored, I was broke, I was busted, and I didn't just know what to do. But I knew I'd always wanted to do stuff with small businesses, having run a business before that. I had to go look for a job and what have you, and then came back. I just said, let me launch something. And so I just called a developer, let's launch a website where we're just going to be reporting news. We're going to have a new news about what's happening in the MSME space, right? So we're publishing news, we're publishing opportunities. And the ideas kept coming. We started, and I felt like, okay, after that, we can have a webinar. Let's have a webinar. After that, let's have training. Let's start collaborating. And then we had Facebook came. Facebook wanted to do something for entrepreneurs, digital marketing. We partnered with them. We had some other partners, Coca-Cola Foundation, and a lot of other organizations. And then I started thinking, this can actually be a very big idea that we can make money from. I wasn't thinking money then. I wasn't thinking money. I have to be sincere. And so we had started putting structure into place. And then I started employing volunteers. I had volunteers. And now the thing has grown. We've done quite a lot. It has established us as a force within the MSME space. And sincerely, I could say it now that if you want to mention 5 people within the MSME space in Nigeria or probably in Africa, my name should come forward because of what we've done. And last week, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, when we were paying salary, and I thought I was paying salary for 11 people. I was like, wow, I didn't see it coming. But it is growing. We are getting traction. We're getting recognized. We got grants and some other things. But the gist is, I asked myself, this is one idea that I executed and it has given us so much traction. What about the 100 that we have not executed. What could have happened if I executed those other ideas and we're following them through, right? So that's how ideas grow. You just sometimes never know the end of that idea that has come silently or quietly into your mind. You just don't know where it is going. And then you just follow it through and you see that it can become so big that even you know that this thing is already getting bigger than you. Okay. So that's what happens when we follow through our ideas. Now let's keep going. What only a business may not be, so that we get it right. Owning a business is not a get rich quick avenue. Sometimes you run a business and you become broke, especially at the initial stage. So let's not think that when you run a business, you automatically become rich. No, it's not freedom from having a boss. Sometimes you think that you don't have a boss. I tell people, when you start running a business, you have very many bosses. All your customer, your clients, they become your bosses. Even your employees, they become your bosses because you have to service all of them. You have to pay their salary, your suppliers, everybody becomes your boss. You don't have absolute control over your time. You don't. That's a lie. If you think sometimes you're working on Saturday, you're working on Sunday, you're working in the midnight, meet the demands of the market and your customers, and you're not escaping from long hours of work. You might actually be working 26 hours in a day if you're not careful, right? So we need to get our straight, but that's not to scare us. What are the four major ingredients of entrepreneurship or running a business? There is the risk aspect, there is the value that you are bringing on the table, there is profit, and there is venture. What happens a lot of time is that people are looking at profit before they look at the risk, the value, and the venture. But you have to satisfy these three first before you look at profit. For every business that you are going into, there is a risk aspect of it. If you are going into farming, for instance, there might be that risk of the rain not falling. You have the risk of pests and what have you. If you are going into fashion business, there is a risk that you might not get customers. There is a risk that your raw materials become more expensive and you're not able to meet up. There is a risk that you're not able to get the machine. There are a lot of risks in every business. So the idea behind running a business or launching a business is that you look at the risk element and you tell yourself, this is how I plan to mitigate. And so in business, we take risks, but they are meant to be calculated risk. If your business involves traveling to go to the market, maybe you have to go to Kano every week. The risk there is the risk of whatever can happen on the road. So are you mitigating against it, right? Are you planning to get your own vehicle? Or are you planning to get a driver that will drive you? Are you planning to go through a means of transport that is less risky? That's part of taking calculated risk. And you need to think about the value you want to bring on the table. Every business is about value. You see a problem, you create a solution for it, and you sell that solution in a way that enables you to make profit. And of course, a venture is what you create after you have identified your risk. You create a value, and then that venture is the business vehicle through which you are running the business. So you must have risk that you have identified and you are mitigating against. You have value that you are creating. You have a business venture, and that's when we cannot start talking about profits. Okay, the road for entrepreneurship is never the way you think it will be. So in your plan is meant to go straight like this. You can see the picture, but a lot of time it's actually undulating. It goes up, it goes down, and what have you. I think I was sharing a story. I started running a business in 2011. I started a marketing, communication, and branding business, and I had very good days when we first started. Remember, the first check I got was from a friend who was working with a company, and they gave me the business to do their branding stuff, and I was very happy. More than 30K in 2011, and we had some other good days, but nobody there to tell me in 2014 that I needed to go and look for a job. So I had to leave the business to go and look for a job again. And I worked on that job for like 2.5 years, learned some lessons, became better. And then 2017, I opted out again to come run a business, right? So nobody ever promises you that this path is going to be smooth, right? It can be very undulating. It can take you through a lot of detours here and there. But the idea is that you should keep on, right? But of course, reasonably. There are times when you have to shut down that business and not go back to it. Okay, so it is never a straight path. And how do you recognize entrepreneurial opportunities or business opportunities? How do you recognize them? Especially if you are not into business already, you need to study your environment. Ask yourself, what do they need in my environment? What is the need? Study your market. And that need that I identify, are there some people already solving that problem? What's the market like? Is it saturated? Is it blue ocean? Is it red ocean? Right? Then what about the trends? What's the trend telling me now? So if you look at the trend, you can actually predict what product will sell. But in the days of AI, blockchain, and some other things, what are the products or services that will sell? I can position and create a business to target the trends and where I think the economy is going. Look for pinpoint. What is it that people are suffering from? Solve the problem. What are the present entrepreneurs doing? Find the need and meet it. I'm still going to talk about that some more. So now let's talk about sustainability, and then I will take us through practical ways of launching a business before we gradually round off. It is not really just about starting a business. It's about starting the one that lasts. What's the essence of starting the 10 businesses in 10 years? And at the end of the 10th year, none of them is standing. It doesn't make sense. So we have some so-called serial entrepreneurs. And the only thing to them is that they have started many businesses. But how many of those businesses are still standing? That's the question. 80% of MSMEs fail within 3 years. 80% fail within 3 years. That's terrible stats, but it is what it is. But the ones that survive, there are some qualities to them. They have a real value-driven purpose. You must ask your why. Why are you starting the business? Apart from the fact that I also want to be a CEO, I want to sack my boss. Why are you starting that business? Your why must be very, very strong. They also have a solid customer market fit. Solid customer market fit. I'll talk about that some more as we go on. Customer market fit. There must be a fit. Then they also have a plan for growth, profit, and system. They have a plan for profit. They have a plan for growth. They have a plan, and they also have system in place because businesses run on processes, they run on system, they run on people. And all those three must be in place for you to actually launch a sustainable business. Are we still following? Are we getting value? If you are getting value, type a yes in the chat box. You think this is making sense? I'm learning something, I'm getting value. Type a yes in the chat box so that I can be sure that I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, we're following, we're getting value. Thank you for. Okay, great, great, great. I need to be sure. What's a sustainable business? Somebody's asking. A sustainable business must pass some test. It must be viable. There must be a real problem that you are solving. A real problem that you are solving. And it's not about you fantasizing. So I worked in a company where my boss was a very wonderful guy. That was our business. That was the company I joined and I lost my job. Wonderful guy. He loves traveling. So he goes to China, he goes to Hong Kong, and he just calls us and say, guys, I just see this product. Man, if I bring it to Nigeria, people would love it. Man, he will say, Wagba. That's what he used to say in Yoruba. That means that they would take. And he will just send us that thing like, what is Oga bringing again? And he will bring that thing. He will so love it. But the idea is that those things, they will lie fallow in the warehouse. We have a very big warehouse where we have dead products. But this guy just loved the idea of going to China, going to those places and bringing products that they have little relevance to Nigeria, but we love them. So you must not bring a product that you like. You're not creating a product that you like. You are creating a product that the market likes. So your preferences are not the yardstick for creating a product or service. And you like something does not mean that the market would like it. I will keep saying that over and over again because I see people create product that they like and they want to force it on the market. And at the end of the day, they will have a big warehouse of product that will never be bought. Okay? A sustainable business must be profitable. Passion is great, but passion is never enough. If you ask me, they say, I'm just doing it for passion, 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 passion. I have one of my friends, you say passion keep you there. So passion is great, but please, 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 my passion must turn into profit. Even if it's a social enterprise, there must be profit that I'm seeing. How do I commercialize it? The idea is that I'm solving a problem, but I'm solving it profitably. Where is the money coming from? Even if the money is not coming now, I must have a model that creates money for me in the future. Where is the money coming from, right? It must be adaptable, meaning that it can evolve with change. So if there is a technological change or there is a change in some aspect, my business must be able to adapt and still be relevant. So if somebody shows up now today and say, guys, please come and help me, and you ask them, what is your business? The person says, I run a business center and we have 20 typewriters. We can help you type your projects and what have you. What will you tell that person? You are not serious. Because a typewriter in this age and time is more than useless, right? So if that person has not adapted from typewriter to computer, the business will fall flat on its face. And of course, it must be scalable. And that's what startups are doing well. And that's why you get to know that these startups just raised $2 million in Series A or Series B or whatever. Startups keep raising money because they're able to appeal to investors due to their ability to scale. What investors put money on, venture capitalists or angel investors, what they put money on is your ability to scale. They want to see that this product that you are selling to 20 people, you can sell it to 100, you can sell it to 10,000, you can sell it to 10 billion. Go and ask the guys that invested in Paystack when it was starting. Their money has multiplied in 1,000-fold because the company can scale, right? They are growing rapidly. They are moving to different countries, same with Flutter, with Keeper Cash, and every other startup that you can see. So being able to scale is one thing that you need to look at in your business. Can this business grow beyond this particular level, right? Or am I just solving a problem for a particular space? No, can it grow? How can I expand it? And thank God for the online world. There is what I call borderless. You can sell your product to people that you have never met and that you will never meet. Okay. And of course, a sustainable business must be responsible. There must be element of social responsibility and other forms of responsibility. Now let's look at the building blocks of a sustainable MSME. What are those building blocks? I want us to know these 6 blocks very well because I'm going to give us a task at the end of the session based on these 6 blocks. If you want to write it down, write it down. Number 1 is clarity of purpose. Number 1 is customer and market fit. And number 3 is value proposition and differentiation. Number 4 is your business model and revenue strategy. Number 5 is your structure, system, and sustainability. And number 6, which is the most important, is your execution discipline. If you get all of these right and number 6 is lacking, you are not doing anything. They are just fanciful ideas in PowerPoint, on slides that you have shared in strategy session, but they are not going anywhere because you have not mastered the discipline of execution. Now, let's look at them one after the other. Number 1 is clarity of purpose. So for that business that you want to start, please, or that you have started, why, okay, for the one you want to start, why do you want to start this business? Please answer that question. Why do you want to start a business? And then number 2, what problem are you solving? Number 3, who exactly are you helping? Who exactly are you helping? Those are the questions I want to ask because the clearer your why, the stronger your how. The clearer the reason why you are doing the business, the stronger the tenacity that you even put into it. And that's why the most resilient entrepreneurs are the ones that have very strong whys. They keep going. They know what they're trying to achieve. They know the problem they are trying to solve. And even in the face of obstacles, they keep going because their whys are very, very strong. If your why is not strong, you would faint when there is a small obstacle on the way, right? So I want us to write this down. If you're running a business, why do you want to start this business? If you are planning to start a business, sorry, what problem are you solving? And who exactly are you helping? You must be able to define this. Very, very important. And customer and market fit. When I ask people questions and I say, who is your target audience? And they say everybody, immediately something happens in my head, right? You know, when somebody's in my head, won't blow. Because I'm asking myself, how can everybody be your customer? Never, it is not possible. Never, never, never. So, who are your paying customers? Who are the people that can pay for your product and your service? Before you launch, ask this question. Who are your paying customers? And what proof do you have that they need what you are offering? Apart from you just thinking in your head that they would need it. Do you think they really need it? Have you checked it? Let me share a story, something I read somewhere, even though this is not core business. So there's this community where they don't have potable water in that community. So everybody in that community goes to the river to go and fetch water every morning. So people in the community, women, ladies, young guys, they go to the river to go and fetch water every morning. And that's their lifestyle. And some guy just saw the comment and say, wow, these guys are suffering. We need to solve this problem for them. And you know what they did? They they got them some balls, right? I think they got like 2 or 3 balls for that community, so that they don't have to go to the river. They can get the water from the balls that are close to their houses. And of course, they launched the balls and the people were happy. They launched it amidst a lot of fanfare and people were happy. But they want to check after about 3 months, the guys were not using the balls. They started going back to the river. And there was a lot of question. Why are these guys not using? Is it like they love suffering in their life? And when they asked them, those guys said, we appreciate the balls, but we found out that when we were going to the river, it was an avenue for us to bond. Because while we go on that journey from our house to the river, that was the only platform for us to discuss what is happening in the community, to bond with each other, to play. And even when we get to the river, we're able to play, swim, and what have you. And the guy was like, wow. So it meant that even though I thought that they needed the bowl, that was not what they needed. These guys are saying that we needed a platform to bond. So maybe if while creating the ball for them, I could have probably created an alternative platform for them to bond, to have discussions. But those guys said no. The only way we bond is when we're going to the river, especially the young people. We have discussions on our way, and that was a learning, right? Sometimes you think you know what people need until you actually get close to them and you find out that they don't need it, right? So how do you validate your product or your service? You must do market research, whichever way you want to go about it. Do surveys and interviews, test your product. So I'm an advocate of people starting small. You think this is a great idea, start small. That's why in the startup world, they ask you, do you have an MVP? Your MVP is your minimum viable product. That's the lowest level of that product that you want to create. You want to see that that product can actually solve a problem. You create a prototype. And when that sells, we say, okay, you can now go ahead, raise money, right? And then you can now create in large quantities. So that's what it is. There must be customer market fit before you launch. Very important. Don't create a product that you'll be begging the market to buy. So the idea is that don't create a product and start looking for market. Look for the market, look for a gap, and create a product to solve the problem that you have seen. Then, of course, your value proposition and differentiation. What are you doing differently? Because it's an oversaturated market that we have right now. Everybody is trying to jostle for attention with one product or the other. What makes your solution unique or better? Before you launch, ask that question. What am I doing differently? What makes my product unique or better than what every other person has? Why should customer choose me? So the formula is this. If you want to talk about your product or service, say we help solve problem, and this is how we do it. So I can say in MSME Africa, we help small business owner solve the problem of access to opportunities by providing daily updates about opportunities for them, and by also putting them in communities where they can access those opportunities. That is what we are doing, right? So let me ask us to do that now. For those of us who are running businesses, use this formula. Tell us, you can say at so company, we solve the problem of so by doing this. And so I want us to just do that in the next 1 or 2 minutes. So write it down. We help write down your target audience, write down the problem you are solving, and then write down how you are solving it. I want us to do it in 1 or 2 minutes, and I'm going to call us to talk about it. Okay? Who has written it down? What problem do you solve? Who do you solve the problem for? How do you solve the problem? That's it. What problem do you solve? Who do you solve it for? How do you solve it? So who wants to go first? Who wants to share what they have just written? Who wants to share what they have written? Or I should just call names randomly? Who wants to share what problem we help solve problem by in way? So who's running a business on the call, and you want to share the problem that you solve and you are solving it for and how you're solving it? Who is going? I would call names, but I just want to be sure that there are people that are running businesses. Okay, so I have somebody in the chat box. Shenariola, is that what I see? Shenariola, so what problem do you solve? Shenariola, are you there? I've called you out. We are waiting, oh. Shenariola, Shenari Damokwe. We have to talk, or else just keep looking at each other's face now. We have to talk. It's just a one sentence thing. And it will also help you to reframe and then understand your why again and again. What problem do you solve? Who are you solving the problem for? So let me call Olaide Ajayi again. So let's go. I know you say you run a retail store. So
yeah, but we shut it down actually.
Okay. So what business you run a business at the moment?
No, kind of in transition, but I'm working on an idea. I'm working on something that I want to launch as well.
Okay, so I want somebody who is running a business at the moment. Damokwe and Olayemi, we're waiting for you. And while we're waiting for them, I'll call Tolulope Elicious again. Tolulope, just one sentence. We help solve problem by So let's have you say it. Tolulope, are you still on the call? You are going quiet on me. So I will assume Tolulope is not available. So the idea behind this is for us to be able to define what we do. And you know what we call elevator pitch. If you meet Dangote in an elevator, can you tell him what you do in a few words? And we'll be willing to listen to you. So if you're not able to do that, there's still a problem. You must be able to articulate what you do, the problem you are solving, and who you are solving the problem for. Okay, let me run fast. So now let's go to business model and revenue strategy. For you to launch a business, you must know how you intend to make money from that business. Please, if you are not sure, you need to really go back. How are you going to be making money? Are you going to make money through direct sales? Are you making money from subscription? For instance, some people run a coaching business and they say, the way I make money is I get people to subscribe to my coaching. They pay $200 per annum and they can access my coaching sessions at a maximum of 4 times in a month. That subscription model. And what that model ensures is that at every particular point, you have money coming to your account, because if it's a yearly subscription, every month, they will always pay their subscription. For another person, is saying, no, I run a coaching business, but I'm not doing subscription. You pay per service. Every time you get on a coaching call with me, you pay $20. That's another structure. So Look at Gmail, for instance. Look at YouTube. They have what we call freemium. Gmail is free, but when you start exceeding some particular volume in terms of the size of your mailbox, Gmail says come and subscribe to bigger storage capacity, and you will start paying, right? The same thing with Canva and some other. They make you test the product, and then after some time you start paying. That's what we call freemium model. So you must tell yourself, this is how I intend to make money from this business, and that's one of the most important decisions you need to take before you launch that business. Very, very important. To run the business. Of course, you need to start by registering the business Corporate Affairs Commission. Separate your personal business finances. Have a structure for your accounting, for customer service, for basic operation, for sales and marketing. So there must be structure driving what you're doing. And of course, think about the people, the profit, and the planet. That's talking about sustainability. All of this must be in place. The last one is execution discipline. Success is vision plus action plus consistency. Vision plus action plus consistency. You don't succeed just because you have a vision. You don't succeed just because you take an action. You must succeed because you have a vision, you take an action, and you are consistent with it. You don't take an action just now and you stop. No. You take that action and you daily show up. You daily show up for your business. You daily show up, whether it's convenient or not, you keep showing up. You keep showing up. Even when the price of fuel goes up, you keep showing up. When dollar to naira exchange rate is becoming something else, you keep showing up. When there is inflation, you keep showing up, because that's what success is all about. Vision plus action plus consistency. You must keep showing up. And of course, you have to break your big goals into manageable chunks, right? So if you're planning to launch a business, for instance, have goals for this is what I want to do in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, so that they become easier for you to achieve. So if I know that I want to do this over 90 days, I start taking action. So this is what I need to do on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And I have a session where I reflect on what I've done so far. If I'm falling behind, I tell myself, no, I can't afford to, right? So break your business goals into small chunks that you can do in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or even more. Then track your key actions weekly. Track your actions weekly, very important. Track your actions on a weekly basis. That's how to stay to launch a business and launch it sustainably. And of course, have accountability. Just like you are in this program, you are running a 90-day accountability program, and the idea is that you become accountable and you commit to do that thing that you have said you will do. Okay. So thank you, Jai. Jai says, I help women in midlife overcome symptoms of hormonal transition by educating and guiding them with specific strategy to help them what now? Symptoms. Does this work? To help them with specific. Okay, let me read this again, and I will do it slowly now. Help women in midlife overcome symptoms of hormonal transitions by educating and guiding them with specific strategies to help their symptoms. Yeah, it works. It works. Because you have stated your target audience, you have stated the help you are rendering to them, and you have stated how you would do it for them. So the how and the why, they are there. This is brilliant. So the next question I will ask you, Jai, is what's your business model or your revenue model? How do you make money? Do they pay once? Do they pay per session? Or do you have resources that you have created that you sell to them? How do you make money from this business, Jai? Because like I said, vision, action, everything is good. But if you don't look at how to make, okay, you are just starting. So you need to start thinking of your model. You want to ask yourself, what is the size of this market in Nigeria? And how do you determine the size? How many women are in midlife, right? So you need to define midlife. Is it from 35 and above? So go get the figure. How many people are 35 and above in Nigeria, women? And then So if you can look at that, you want to start by creating a platform where you get a large number of them into a community, and you start talking about hormonal transitions, you start talking about okay, so good. I like how that a lot of us are just starting on our ideas. So we're using Jaye as an example now. So Jaye, I love this idea. So maybe you want to create a community. And because you know about this thing, you want to start giving them tips on a regular basis. Maybe you start with your social media and you start something with Jai or whatever name you want to give it. And so people are coming to your page. They are getting ideas about how to manage hormonal transition in midlife. You are giving them tips after tips. Maybe after some time, you start doing webinars or Instagram, like people are coming there and you drop it there for you to join our community where you have access to information. Click this link. And then you have a large number of them on Telegraph or inside whatever community. And then they keep getting this thing. And you say, now we want to upgrade. For you, we will now have a premium membership where you'll have access to this thing, and you also have access to Coach Jaye, or you have access to this and that. And just for a subscription of 100,000 per annum, you will get this. And you want to pay per month, you pay 12K per month. And so people think like, you are paying per annum, I'm saving money. And so they come there, and because you have that large number already, you're able to get the ones that will pay and can make money from it. That's just one way you can make money. You can also decide that I want to make money by one-on-one. So people come, they have sessions with you, and they make money. There are so many ways to go about this. But please, it is very important for you to say, this is where the money is going to be coming from. Don't ever fall for that mistake of just following passion, passion, passion. Passion is never enough. And then when passion overrides the quest to make profit, people get tired. They get tired of it. You just feel like you get frustrated. I remember one of my friends said that the worst place to be is a place where you're passionate about something, but you're always perpetually broke. No, don't be that passionate person who is perpetually broke. No, the passion must be able to create profit, right? It might not be immediate, but it has to create profit at the end of the day. So now we're rounding off. Let's work on these 5. I want to leave us with this, and I will also make the slides available. You need to go and work on this, please. Tell yourself, what is my business purpose? Write it down. Just get a book and write it down. Who are my ideal customers? Write down who you think your ideal customers are. One way to generate revenue. Maybe you can make it not more than one way. How do I generate revenue? Is it pay per service? Is it freemium? Is it subscription? How do I intend to generate revenue? Write it down. Then one system or tool that I need to put in place. What do I need to put in place to help me generate this revenue? Write it down. Then what's your SMART goal for the next 30 days? Please, I would encourage us to write all of this down in your notebook and commit to executing this goal, right? This is very, very important. I'm happy you're in this program, and that's a system of accountability for you. So in wrapping this up, so that we can quickly take questions, I would say a couple of things, but these are the 4 major takeaways. While ideas are great, executed ideas are the real deal. Everybody can have ideas, but the ones that are executed are the real deal. Build with purpose, not just profit. And of course, profit is still very important, but build with purpose. Start with a purpose. Start with a why, a very big and convincing why that can withstand the worst of pressure. That even when things are not working, your why would say, this is why I'm doing this, and I will stay with it. Designed for sustainability from day one. From day one, tell yourself this is a sustainable business. This is not just for me and my family to feed. This is going to feed us and also do much more. So when you have that in mind, it determines what you will do and what you will not do. Okay? And lastly, progress beats perfection. Start where you are. It doesn't have to be perfect. It will never be perfect from the beginning. Progress beats perfection. Very, very important. Start small and keep making little progress. So I hope with these few words of mine, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you that launching and executing your ideas takes a lot, but it's something that is rewarding and something that you always be joyful about if you're able to pull it off eventually. So what do you need to do? Review your ideas through the lens of these 6 blocks that I've shared with you. Commit to one action daily and use the Growcircle 90-day coaching framework to execute smart. Okay? And so that is the end of my session. I will be glad to attend to questions for the next few minutes. Thank you very much for being a part of the class.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Seye. Thank you for that insightful session. We are truly, truly, truly grateful for the gift of you. Thank you for sharing this beautiful knowledge with us. So, so that we just move on with the agenda. If you have questions, kindly signify, raise your hands, or you want to put them in the chat box, and then we can take them one after the other. Please go ahead and say thank you to Mr. Seye. Let me see that rolling up in the chat box. Everybody, thank you, thank you. Whilst those who have questions can begin to, bring them forward. Anybody with any question, please? Raise your hands, signify.
Okay. My hand is up. Can I go?
Okay, go. Yeah, you can.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Seye, for the very detailed stuff. I don't know if I missed this at any point because I kind of lost track. So I want to find out about taxes. Is it covered within the scope of this? I mean, what kind of company do you really recommend that one opens, especially when it comes to taxes? Because I'm wondering if I'm not making up to 1 billion per annum, why should I really be paying taxes and all of that? Thank you.
Okay, so taxes are our responsibilities to the government, and everything that we enjoy infrastructure, they are paid from taxpayers' money. That's why when you see road construction, they will say taxpayers' money in action. But let me talk about the tax framework in Nigeria. So as of today, if you are making less than 25 million in revenue, you are exempted from paying taxes in Nigeria. You are not even expected to do that again. Even according to the new tax bill now, the tax reform now, they are pushing it up to 50 million. So if you are doing less than 50 million in revenue, you are not expected to pay company income tax. You are not expected to even remit VAT. But you are still required to register with the Federal Inland Revenue Service and even your state revenue service. If it's Lagos, that Lagos Inland Revenue Service. You register with them as a business entity. And what it means that every month you just remit, you just go and do your taxes online. You say nil remittance. You can remit nil. That means you are not doing anything, right? So yes, yeah, less than 50 million revenue is not taxable. That's according to the new tax reform that has, I think it has passed through through the Senate and the House of Rep now. But before there is 25 million. And even for employees, anybody that is earning less than 70 million in a month is not expected to, you're not expected to pay what's it called now? Personal income tax on their behalf. So you don't deduct tax from your employees that are earning less than 70 million. But it is advisable that you register with FIRS, LIRS if you are in Lagos the moment you start running your business so that you don't run foul of the law. If you don't do that, there are penalties that are accruable. It's every month. So every month you are owing the government. If you are not registered with them and you are not remitting, you could just be, you just do zero. I'm not liable to pay tax, but they want to see you in their radar so that by the time you make more than 50 million, they can capture you, right? So that's it about taxes.
Thank you very much.
Any other question?
Any other person with a question, please just unmute and shoot. If you have questions, please go ahead. Any other person?
Okay, so I think she also mentioned the type of businesses, right? So there are different ways to register a business. You can register a business name. A business name just means that my personal business is a sole proprietor kind of business. And what has happened is that you are still that business. So for a sole proprietor, is a business name that you are registering. and you are not even, there's nothing like company income tax for you. What you need to do at the end of the year is for you to pay your personal income tax, and that is deemed to be that you are paying income on behalf of that entity that you have registered. Because in the eye of the law, it is just still you, but you just have a business name. But the other kind of business is what we call limited liability company. And of course, you must have more than one person registering that. Even if you are the sole owner of that idea, you must have one or two other people that you have registered, and they must have some level of shares in the company. And the idea behind a limited liability company is that it is more respected. If you want to get business contract with the government or with some big organization, they will not give you a business if it's just a business name. But for a business name, your tax liabilities are reduced and your regulatory and compliance requirements are very, 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 very little. But when you register a limited liability company, you are required to comply with a lot of things: company income tax, education tax, and some other form of taxes. And then, of course, that business is deemed to be separate from you. And so there must be some level of corporate governance, um, some level of compliance with rules and regulation when it comes to limited liability. So I would say if it's a small business you are just starting, you can register as a business name, and then at some point you can upgrade to a limited liability company. Right.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Seye. I mean, my notes is full. I have at least 20 key points that I've noted from this session. It was a lot. It was, woo! Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Can you hear me? Please,
Yes,
can you confirm you can hear me?
I can hear you
Okay.
very well.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We are hoping that when we call you again, you would you will come back. Thank you so much for
Always.
accepting to be here today and for sharing, all the tips with us. I'm sure that even for those people that are yet to launch, having listened to this masterclass now, they're empowered to launch. I mean, one of the things I picked from your session is the fact that decide to have or to run a sustainable business from day one. There is no need waiting. There's no need planning to fail from the beginning, right? So do your market research. If it's a new business, do your market research, understand who your customers are, understand the purpose or the vision of the business, understand the problem you are solving. Then another thing is said, you mentioned the fact that you're not creating a product that you prefer. You are creating a product to meet the needs of your customer, to meet the needs of the market. I mean, so many light bulb moments, so many lessons and tips to get from the session. Thank you so much, Mr. Seye. And to my amazing cohort 3 visionaries, I want to believe this session has been so impactful for you. I want to believe that. And at this point, I want you to commit to something. You know me, you know that, I mean, this program is about helping you to take action, helping you to execute, helping you to drive value for that idea that you have. So I want you to put in the chat box again, what are you committing to? Now you, in the launch model, which we started last week, you have decided on a milestone that you want to launch right now. Based on this new information that you've learned today, what are you going to do differently as a result of this? Tell me in the chat box, what are you going to do differently with your milestone, with your ideas, with your vision, with your goals, for the next 3 weeks? What will you do differently? For me, I've noticed some things I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to some of you to check with you, what can we do better? How can we improve this product called 90-day accountability program, right? That would help us to meet your need better, because it is a product. Okay, so what are you going to do differently? For someone, you want to say, for instance, you want to launch that community, which was one of the suggestions they gave, right? You want to launch that community where you can